What exactly is the orange economy? Break it down for us.
Well, in essence, the orange economy covers all the economic activities that really spring from human creativity. Think culture, artistic expression, innovation.
Okay.
It's fundamentally about taking those things that are often intangible, you know, ideas, imagination, creative skills, and transforming them into things that have real economic value, monetizing them.
Right. So let's maybe unpack that a bit. We get traditional industries, right? Tangible resources. What's the core resource here? What's being used?
It's a really different way of thinking. The industrial economy, it depends on physical stuff, minerals, crops, things like that.
Sure.
But the orange economy, it's fueled by human talent, by
Huh?
creativity, and by what we call intellectual property, basically, the rights that protect creations of the mind.
So moving from digging things up.
Exactly, to leveraging human ingenuity. That's the core shift.
Got it. Now that name, orange economy, it's pretty distinctive. Why orange? Where did that come from?
Well, the term itself is generally attributed to John Hawkins.
Okay.
And the color orange, well, it often carries symbolic meaning related to creativity and culture in quite a few traditions globally.
Interesting. So there's a bit of symbolism there.
Absolutely. And, the term really gained momentum, became widely known, partly because it was adopted and promoted heavily in Latin America. Yeah, Colombia in particular really used it to brand and sort of elevate their cultural industries. It became a useful label for this whole sector.
And I think I remember reading about a specific report that kind of pushed this into the mainstream economic chat.
Yes, definitely. A really key piece of work came from the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB.
Right.
It was called the Orange Economy,
Mm.
an infinite opportunity. And that report was huge. It really hammered home that creativity isn't just some nice to have on the side.
Mm.
It's a fundamental driver of economic growth, just as important as any other industry. It really put the orange economy on the global economic map.
An infinite opportunity. That's quite a claim. We could definitely come back to that. But first, let's get practical. What kind of sectors are we actually talking about here? What makes up this orange economy?
It's broad, really broad. You've got sectors like advertising, architecture, arts and crafts.
But traditional crafts, too. Like
Wait.
pottery, weaving.
Absolutely. Pottery, textiles, you name it. Then there's film, TV, radio, all kinds of design, fashion design, graphic design, product design. Okay.
Music, performing arts, publishing books, magazines, digital stuff too, software development, the whole gaming industry, app
Yeah.
development, and even cultural tourism.
Cultural tourism, right, where heritage and art draw people in.
Exactly.
Wow, that is a huge list. What's the common denominator? What ties, say, software development and pottery together under this orange banner?
The common thread is really that process, turning imagination into income.
Okay.
Think about it. Whether it's a sculpture someone makes by hand, or a huge blockbuster movie, or some new software app, or even a trip focused on culture.
Yeah.
They all start with a creative spark, an idea.
Yeah.
And they all have the potential to generate serious economic returns. A song starts as just a tune in someone's head.
Right.
A video game starts as a concept. But both can become multi-million-dollar industries. That's the link.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's think about India. Huge country, incredibly diverse culture. What does the orange economy mean for India? What's the potential there? Oh, India's potential is immense,
Mhm.
just massive, primarily because of that incredible cultural richness you mentioned and its huge pool of talent.
Mm.
I mean, just look at Bollywood. It's one of the biggest film industries on the planet. That's a prime example. A powerhouse of India's orange economy. Huge revenues, global reach.
Yeah, Bollywood's impact is hard to ignore.
Mm.
But what else? Beyond film, where are India's strengths in this area?
Well, beyond Bollywood, India has really strong traditions in handicrafts, right? Then there's the whole global wellness thing driven by yoga and Ayurveda.
Yeah.
You've got a fast-growing fashion design scene, often mixing traditional styles with modern looks. And importantly, a super dynamic digital content creation space.
Fueled by.
Fueled by its massive youth population who are very digitally savvy, the sheer variety of cultural expression across India is just incredibly fertile ground.
And you mentioned digital earlier. How is the digital age changing things, amplifying this potential for India?
The digital revolution.
Yeah.
It's been a game changer. It means that now, someone with creative skills, even if they're in a small village somewhere,
Yeah.
they can use the internet to connect directly with global markets. It's democratizing opportunity, really. It allows, say, rural artisans, independent designers, niche artists to find an audience worldwide.
which wasn't really possible before on that scale.
Exactly. Not like this. It opens up so many doors for wealth creation.
Okay, let's circle back to that phrase from the IDB report, an infinite opportunity. That sounds amazing, but why infinite? What's thinking there?
The core reason is creativity itself. It doesn't really have limits, does it?
I suppose not.
Unlike, say, oil or coal or even farmland, those are finite resources, they can run out. But human ideas, innovation, imagination, there's no fixed supply of that.
So it's a resource that actually grows the more you use it.
Precisely. You can think of the orange economy like a river of ideas that just keeps flowing. And the more you tap into it, the more you engage with it, the more ideas seem to bubble up.
Interesting analogy.
Yeah, it's like a self-renewing cycle of creativity and economic activity.
Sounds almost too good to be true. Surely there are obstacles. What are some of the main challenges this orange economy runs into?
Oh, absolutely. Despite all the potential, there are definitely hurdles. A big one in many places is just a lack of formal recognition,
Meaning?
meaning it's not always treated as a distinct, serious industry. And that can lead to a lack of proper policy support, lack of investment.
Got it.
Another huge issue is protecting intellectual property rights, or IPR.
Piracy, copying,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Exactly. If creators can't protect their ideas, their designs, their music, their software, it really dampens the incentive to create in the first place. It stifles innovation.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Right.
Any other major roadblocks?
Well, digital infrastructure is still a problem in many areas, especially rural ones. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't get online reliably...
You can't reach those global markets we talked about.
Right. And even with connectivity, sometimes there are other barriers, maybe logistical issues or regulations that make it hard for local artists to sell internationally.
So what's needed then?
Ultimately, for the orange economy to really thrive, you need strong IPR protection, you need support systems like funding, training, networks, and you definitely need good digital access for everyone. That's how you turn creativity into sustainable income consistently.
Okay. So how are countries around the world actually looking at this now? Is the orange economy being taken seriously on the global stage?
Oh, definitely. It's increasingly being recognized as a major economic force. Globally, the creative economy contributes over 3% to the world's GDP.
Wow, 3% is significant.
It is, and it employs over 30 million people worldwide. So many countries are now actively putting policies in place to nurture and grow these sectors.
Can you give us some examples? Which countries are really pushing this?
Sure. The UK has had strong policies for its creative industries for a while. South Korea is another big one. Think K-pop, K-drama. Colombia, as we mentioned, has been a champion. And even China is investing heavily in developing its creative sectors.
And why are they doing this? What are the benefits they see?
Well, several things. It boosts exports, selling creative goods and services abroad. It attracts tourism, cultural tourism specifically. And it enhances what's often called soft power, a country's cultural influence and international standing.
Okay, makes sense.
Right.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, maybe we should do a quick recap, just nail down the key points.
Good idea. So remember, orange economy, creative economy, cultural economy, they basically mean the same thing.
Right. Interchangeable term.
Exactly. The core idea. Economic value comes from ideas, culture, innovation, the arts. It's driven by human imagination, which is arguably limitless.
Unlike finite resources.
Precisely. Key sectors include the arts, media, entertainment, design, IT, software, gaming, cultural tourism. It's a wide net. And for India specifically, the combination of its deep cultural diversity and its large, young, digitally connected population makes it a potentially huge player in this space.
This has been really illuminating. A great deep dive into the orange economy. It's quite something to think about how basic human creativity can be such a powerful economic force. Especially now, with AI and automation becoming so prominent. It kind of underscores the unique value of human ingenuity.
Absolutely.
So for everyone listening, as you go about your day, maybe keep this in mind. Think creatively and think critically about all this potential.
And maybe consider, how you might connect with or even contribute to this really dynamic, growing orange economy yourself. The possibilities, as we've heard, they really are quite endless.